Hey guys, I'm Joanne. I hope you know me. But this is the live interview with George from Corsair. And there's Paul too.
I'm here. Hi everyone. And that's all the time we have for today.
And that about wraps it up. Thanks for asking all the questions,
thanks for
everybody.
coming.
So why don't we introduce George? George is from Corsair. George, what do you do with Corsair?
I am the product manager for cases, cooling, and I assist with power supplies and Corsair Link and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
Great.
So today's video is primarily about the 750D, but if you guys want to ask George any questions about cooling, power supplies, and then to a lesser extent peripherals and memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can give it a shot. I'm not
he'll
the
give it a
memory
shot.
guy, but
All right,
I'll
cool.
do what I can for you.
All right, so I'm monitoring Twitter questions, guys. I'm not Twitter. I'm monitoring Twitch questions. If you post them in there, we'll ask them of George, provided, of course, that there's no swear words.
I'll do my best.
Or minimums of swear words.
Also, one more thing. The 750D case overview is out on our channel if you're interested, so go ahead and check that out when you have the time.
Okay.
Yes.
So, should we start and just talk about the 750D a little bit?
Yes, we should.
Well, I mean, it's right here.
All right, well, yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The 750D is a full tower case, so you guys just did a video on it, I see. And we got a bunch of stuff that we're talking about specifically today, but the idea is that we wanted to get a new full tower chassis that was more affordable than the 900D. The 900D is our flagship and like kind of our premium level chassis, but not everyone needs that much space or plans on doing like 4 separate radiators for a water cooling loop. So we wanted to create a full tower case that was like competitive but also affordable. So that's where the 750D came from.
I just noticed.
And also, the 900D I also unboxed. It has a lot of radiator potential. However, this case also does.
Yeah, this case actually has a pretty good radiator potential as well. Obsidian series for us is about like flexibility and giving the user the kind of customization options that he may not have with other chassis. So we focus on like giving you flexibility to do the different things you want to do, so we make radiator compatibility paramount in Obsidian series cases. So for example, you can do a 360 up top, a 280 or 240 in the front, and then a 240 on the bottom as well, and then a 140 on the back. So it still has a lot of radiator capacity, and because of the way we did the SSD cages in there, you can actually pull those hard drive cages out to put the radiator on the bottom, and your SSDs can still be installed in the case. You can still have your OS without having to duct tape it to the back of your motherboard tray.
And these cages are really easy to take out. You just remove 2 screws and you're good. You know, what's very interesting are those 2.5-inch dry mounts. I don't usually see them, so can you like just go over those a little bit?
Yeah, what we see, so the way we design, or the way I design stuff, and then the way we try and make it work is we look at what people are doing, like in forums and how people are using their cases, and then we try and make it easier for people to do those things. So what we saw a lot of was people, when they take a system to water cool it and they take the cages out or they rivet them out or drill out the rivets or whatever they do, they would put the SSDs behind the motherboard tray because they're very thin and really light and you can put them on a piece of Velcro. And what we realized is like actually they're doing that because no one's given them any other way to install an SSD in the case out of the airflow path. So that's what this was born out of. The idea was let's give them a place to put the SSDs back out of the way. But then also SSDs are one of the most expensive parts in the system. For a guy who's bought a premium rig, you may have $500 video cards, but you also probably have a $300 SSD in there. So one of the reasons we did this and put them here where they're visible is like, one of the things you want to look at is all the stuff you spent your money on. Like if you have a window, I spent money on my motherboard, my video card, my CPU cooler, and I also spent some money on my SSDs. I want to see them. I want to feel like I got like a little bit of satisfaction out of that. So that's why we put them there where they're visible.
So those SSD bays only compatible with Neutron GTXs?
Neutron GTX only. Neutron. All other SSDs will burst into flames and potentially harm your loved ones.
It is a really nice feature, though. That's something I have sort of worked out myself, is where to position an SSD in a system using Velcro or whatever, just so it's visible. Especially we did the golden build with a lot of Corsair parts, and we wanted to have that golden painted Neutron GTX out there, so I ended up putting it on top of the power supply, which was okay. It was functional. It wasn't ideal, possibly some heat issues, but we gave it away anyway. So
yeah, no, it's one of those things that, like I said, we try and find a way to make what people are already doing and already want to do a little bit easier for them to do. So,
but what about like cabling? Like I've read that there's some problems with that.
With the SSDs?
No, because of the way they're placed. Like
no, actually, so we actually spaced those. So if you actually stack, so you can take this main hard drive cage and stack it on top of this one, or hang it from here, or you can install 2 extra ones here, so you can put up to 3 separate cages here. But there's spacing between those SSD cages, so that you can run your power cables from the regular hard drives through there without interfering. So we spent extra time in the development process to make sure you can get your cabling clean. And then on the other side, when you put the SSDs in, the cabling should be able to run really clean. Now that being said, we test almost exclusively with Corsair power supplies. So we use like the 90-degree right angle SATA connectors and stuff like that. So that's what we optimize for. If you use a power supply that has like different kind of connectors, it may or may not work right. So
that makes sense. Like your water cooling, the H100 and stuff, it just works better with Corsair cases.
Yeah. So the core message is don't buy anything but Corsair stuff. Only Corsair
That's
stuff.
really the whole point of this.
Everything else is potentially harmful. But I hope everyone realizes that's joking.
Yes.
Not everything else is potentially harmful, just most of it.
Yeah. Go with Corsair.
Yeah. There's a guy off camera with a gun telling these guys the same stuff.
Yeah. Don't shoot us, Steve. So we have some questions coming in from our Twitch chat audience.
Sure.
This is a question actually that came up before the stream even started. So this is from Green Savage. And the question was for you, George. Do you know, this is actually about your mechanical keyboards that Corsair makes. Any plans for Cherry MX Green switches in those keyboards?
I can't comment on any unannounced products or anything that hasn't been announced yet. So because we haven't ever said, yes, we're doing greens, or no, we're not doing greens, I honestly can't say. I can say that we did blues and browns because of high user demand, and people gave us a lot of feedback saying, hey, I want MX blues or I want MX browns for the K70. So if enough people request greens, I'm sure that they'll look at that. I'm not the guy for keyboards and mice, but it would make sense. If enough people want to buy the product, there's no reason for us not to do it.
Where do you go to request?
Where do you go to request? Go to Corsair forums and send as many messages as you can saying MX Greens, please.
MX Greens.
And Jason, the keyboard guy, I apologize already for the deluge of MX Green emails you're going to get because of this.
Hey,
I mean, I
gotta
want
give
to
the
see
fans what they
greens.
want.
Yeah, give the fans what they want. Green key switches.
If you get it, give it to me.
I've had, so at PAX Prime this year, we were showing off the K70s with the MX Browns and the MX Blues and the MX Reds, which were the the default. And people were coming by and playing with them and saying which one they preferred. And then like literally every single Cherry switch I was asked about. Like, when are you going to do MX whites or clears or blacks?
Oh, I've heard of clears,
literally
yeah.
everybody wants, someone always has like their personal preference. So realistically, it's kind of a bell curve thing. There's guys at the high end who want this, and there's guys at the low end who want that, but most people seem to be kind of happy with reds, blues, or browns as the thing. If enough people are really stoked about greens, then I'm sure we'll look at that.
All right.
I mean, I'm a huge blue fan myself, right? But I heard that greens are stiffer than the blues. Is that true?
I don't know on the greens, to be honest. Like I said, I'm not a keyboard guru. I know that the blues are phenomenally loud and super clicky.
I love
So
that.
if you want to, and they make you feel like you're typing way faster because of the double actuation. So like when you type on MX Blues, everyone in the room knows you're typing like on MX Blues, and it makes you feel like you're in like a 1920s newsroom, just like clacking away.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I like it. It's great because I type really fast.
Yeah,
I
you type
a lot.
you type twice as fast on MX Blues because you
Oh, you're probably
double
right.
click.
It's because of the halfway actuation thing.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like it clicks twice. What's the next question? Who else
Any
do we have?
questions? Any other
Thanks,
questions?
Green Savage, who is aptly named for his request of green.
Hey, that's
switches.
true. I didn't even notice that. His name is Green in the chat too. So
Question.
Is there a question from Red Savage about this red switches?
I do have a comment from David the Win. He says, "Tell George my braided cable kit got here today, and I'm very happy with them."
No
So great
problem,
job.
David, or David, whichever camera's on. I don't know.
Good customer service for you.
Excellent.
Yes.
And in case you guys did not know, Corsair offers braided cable kits for many. How many? Is this
all,
like
all the modular power supplies? So, as of like last year, we standardized the connectors on all of our modular power supplies, so that for the most part, every connector is the same. So if you go to buy either a CX modular or all the way up to AXI, you can buy the braided cable kit from Corsair.com and still use those braided cables. There are a couple variants here and there, but we make it really clear on our website which cables are for what power supplies. That being said, we have always got our mind on new stuff and new opportunities. So for example, we have green cables, red, white, black, even some gunmetals. If you have new ideas for cable colors and stuff like that, again,
Pink. I'm just
sure,
kidding now.
Hey, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so
Pink could work.
it could work. We got to get it back for next October. It'll be a good time. If the NFL can do pink, why not us, right?
But remember, baby pink.
Baby pink.
Yeah. That's where it's
true.
at.
I don't want to go like Mary Kay pink, which is kind of like a pearl glossy pink.
I'm going to group a few questions together here.
Sure.
We have some mini ITX questions. So, is there a mini ITX Obsidian case potentially coming? Any mini ITX cases, or also the Air 540? Any chance of a mini ITX variant of that?
So, like I said, I can't talk about future products, but yes, there's mini ITX stuff coming. So we have a lot of different mini ITX stuff in the pipe, and we're working on a lot of different stuff. And over the next year, 2 years, you're going to see a lot of different mini ITX options from Corsair.
Very nice.
So we're working on a couple different options. I can't give you any specifics, but yes, we're not like ignoring the segment. It's not like we're plugging our fingers in our ears and pretending it doesn't happen. We're definitely working on something for you guys.
That would be exciting to see.
Like a question, are you going to still include the 5¼ inch bay or no?
I think it depends on what the chassis goal is. So the way we work is, what's the chassis designed to do? Like, what is the value proposition, right? So as if I'm a user and I go see this thing in a store, I see it on Newegg.com, and I say, why would I buy this case? It has to have a strong message to that. It has to say, this case is all about expansion at the right price point, or you know, this mini ITX case is all about the really, really small form factor. So if we're going super small form factor, then yeah, we got to get rid of the 5¼ inch bay because it takes up a large amount of space, and most people aren't going to use it. But if we were talking about, like, for example, doing a mini ITX case where we focused on expansion capability, or we focused on cooling, then maybe we would have that kind of be balanced out. Okay. So it really depends on what the case is designed to do.
So basically, it's all a mystery.
It is a mystery.
You won't know until you know.
Exactly.
So next question, I'm gonna expostulate. If I don't know if
is
that's
that a word?
What is
that I just made it up. I don't
Did
know
you
if
make
expound.
that word?
I think
Expound is a word.
postulate is one thing, and
Yes.
expound is another.
Expound is a word.
I like expostulate, though.
I think
That sounds like something you should. I'm a doctor. I'm expostulating. Can you?
Yeah, trademark. It's
check into
Paul's
that for
word,
me?
expostulate.
you got that
Hey, let's
expostulate.
just make up words.
Let's just make up words.
I really enjoy making up words.
Apparently.
Anyway, all right. So the question itself, this one's from Howie225.
Sure.
Do you guys have replacements for the front panel? This is 750D related to replacements for the front panel. He bought two from some terrible store online other than Newegg. I don't know why you would do that, but. And he said they had some shipping issues. So
yeah, there was a couple of the early ones. This is all addressed this now. This part right here comes off, and there's two little push latches here, and there's two little tabs on this. And this is taped up from here to here in the package.
Okay.
And believe it or not, when they did a couple of the first shipments, some of the tape was the incorrect spec. There's a spec on tape for tackiness. And
For tackiness.
believe it or not, there's a spec. This is the tackiness level of the tape, and it has to be able to adhere for this and through these different formats. And they used the wrong spec on the tape, so a couple of them broke off on the early ones. So yes, we do have replacement parts in our inventory that we can get to you for that. So if you did get a 750D and it had a broken piece or whatever because it had the tape came loose in the box, contact our customer service and we'll get you replacement parts.
And that's often a much better solution than contacting Newegg about it, because if you contact Newegg, customer service is going to ask you to take the whole case, send it back. They'll usually give you a shipping label.
2 months later, we get the case back, and the only thing wrong with it is this thing we could have fixed easily for the guy. So if you have a 750D and you have a broken piece here and you call customer service, if they don't have the part in inventory today, they'll tell you like, hey, we should have it by Thursday, or we should have it by Friday, or whatever it is. So just contact them, let them know.
An excellent option if you ever have any case issues in shipping.
We try and stock, we try and stock as much stuff as possible on our website so that you can go to the website and see if that part is available for replacement.
Oh, okay.
I know the 750D isn't up there yet, all the replacement parts aren't up there yet, but we try and get it out there for around launch time. So if you see the replacement parts, then just go ahead and contact our customer service and say, here, I saw the part on the website, I need this part, and they'll send it to you.
Nice.
But you can also buy them individually.
Yeah, if you if you wanted to drill a hole in one for fun and you wanted a backup just in case, you can just buy it too.
Just drilling a hole in it?
People drill holes in all kinds of things.
Okay. That is so wrong.
I mean, no, let's say you wanted better airflow or something, you wanted to cut a giant hole in the front, some people do that type of stuff.
Just like modding and then
they got, modding their case, they got a jigsaw and like a couple extra hours of time, let's go to town, do what you want.
Okay, I'm just going to cut in with something totally random, but I'm really hungry.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I'm so hungry.
So send.
I wouldn't eat this. Probably.
It's like chop Newegg, people.
Exactly. Could someone send Joanne a
So
sandwich?
Joe, all right.
What's up?
I wanted to interject real quick. If you guys are just now joining us on Twitch, thank you very much for stopping by and watching our stream. We're talking with George from Corsair, specifically about the 750D, which is a new case that just launched last week. If you want to see a full product tour on it, Joanne has already done one of those.
Not a product tour. An overview.
Sorry, an overview, not a product tour.
But not a review, an overview.
Yes, an overview. Joanne has done that, so you can check out our Newegg TV YouTube channel if you want to see all that. But specific question just now, I know you guys already did this, but could we go over the radiator support in the 750D one more time?
Wait, can I go over it?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yay! Okay. So on the top, you can include one up to 360 millimeters, but also 240 and 280, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What really comes to mind is like the Kraken, like the X60.
Why would you talk about it?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Corsair is the number one all-in-one liquid cooler guy in the world.
H110.
Everybody else has,
H110,
we had, and we had it better.
H110.
Sorry, Rob. Anyway, no, she's right. We can fit. So you're right. The H110, H100, the NZXT Kraken, X40 or X60, they'll all fit in here.
Great.
If you, for some reason, had a Kraken because it was on sale,
and the
you
name
got
is
that
so
instead of
cool.
the
Big
Corsair.
manufacturer rebate.
Yeah, a big manufacturer rebate, something like that. If you decided to buy that product, which is it's a fine product. But if you were to put it in this case, it's not going to burst into flame and kill everyone you love. It's just going to, it'll fit in there fine.
The Kraken is
your
a
pets,
water-based
right?
monster.
But actually, you know what? That's a good point. There's a difference between the Kraken X60 and H110, and that is actually the spacing on the screw holes on the top. There's instead of the standard spacing, they use a different spacing. So we actually have compatibility with both spacing. So no matter if you had the X60 or the H110, you can fit both of them in here because we have a spacer up top that allows you to adjust to both sizes of that radiator.
That actually is a question that's come up a lot, particularly with the bigger radiators, which I'm a big fan of because I like larger fans. They always seem to be a bit quieter. So question for you, just off the top of my head, for 280 millimeter radiator support, apart from the 750D, if folks are buying a radiator that big, what Corsair cases might they purchase to go along with that?
So if you bought an H110, the H110 will fit in a lot of our cases. So 650D, 750D, it'll even fit in the 350D, the Micro ATX case. Wow. It'll fit in the 500R, the 550D. It'll fit in the, it will not fit in the 600T.
Really?
600T is 120 only. 120 only on top. But it'll fit in the C70, for example. We're working on making sure that almost all of our future chassis have, at like a certain price point or higher, will have 280 millimeter radiator spacing compatibility.
Okay, shall we continue with the radiator capability?
Oh, we didn't
finish
that.
360, 240, 280 on top. What's in the front?
The front is, you could either put a 240 or 280. However, you will need to move around these drive cages because obviously it's going to get in the way. And a 240 only on the bottom, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So there you have it.
And 140 on the back.
And a 140 on the back. That's true.
Oh, but then everybody knows that.
knows
like
that.
Rear, you can always put a radiator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Joanne knows the 750D very well.
All right, we have some questions building up, so let's try and knock some of these out. Primal77 asks, George, any info on Vengeance series cases? Is that it?
Vengeance series cases. Right now there's only one Vengeance series case, which is the C70. And the C70 is, so Vengeance is kind of our gaming line that we focused on, like gaming, keyboards and gaming mice. And I think that we're looking at the way the C70 is doing and deciding if we wanted to, move up or down in the family at this time. So again, I can't comment on any unannounced stuff, but yeah, we are definitely looking into expanding that family in the future.
Excellent.
If you have suggestions, feel free to send them to us at the forums, on our case forum on our website, or just go on our Facebook and say something about it.
I have one. You should send us all of your new cases before they release.
We do. We do. You guys have a warehouse full of them.
That's true.
But I mean like here in the video room.
All right. Yeah. You have my stuff. You can get a hold of it.
We'll follow up on that. Okay.
Does anybody actually want to ask us a question that's like watching right now that didn't get a chance to ask it yet? Just go ahead.
Oh, I've got lots of questions here.
Sure. All right.
Okay. Let's see. Junioli, J-U-N.
Wait, let me try. Where is it?
I'm reading.
Yeah, but you're not doing it. Oh, I think that's Korean, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Please ask George if a 5 1/4-inch bay cover for optical drives will come with the Obsidian series.
No, not at this time.
Not at this time.
So we've looked into that, but actually what we've seen is that It's actually somewhat of a pain because optical drives are getting less and less standardized with like Blu-rays and stuff like that, so the button location is moving a little bit. And also less and less people are putting optical drives in their cases. So what we see is most people are using 5 1/4 inch bays, not just for optical drives, but also for stuff like fan controllers or card readers or reservoirs, things like that.
Or like an LCD screen.
Or something like that, yeah. So we still might do it on some future cases, but right now it's not really in the planning stages for Obsidian series.
All right. Will Corsair make a 1500 watt power supply or anything beyond 1200 watts?
What about a 2000 watt?
2000 can't be done in the US easily. So the problem with high power supplies is that in the US typically you're running a 120 volt line and it's on a 15 amp breaker. So that gives you like 1800 watts or so of power that you would actually be able to use in that room, or on that circuit. And that circuit is usually more than just one room. In most residential, it's like a couple of bedrooms, or maybe the kitchen's on its own 20 amp circuit or whatever. But the 1800 watts, if you count the power supply and the monitor and the speakers and your UPS and your router and your cable modem and all the stuff that's plugged into that outlet, maybe your printer, whatever, a lamp or a lava lamp or your bong, whatever you have plugged in.
Bong?
I don't know what you plug into your house. If you have like an electro vaporizer, it's legal in California, Washington,
I have a humidifier.
Denver. You do have, okay. Then you have a humidifier. Then anything can be done, but you're going to trip the circuit breaker. So in order to get a 1500 watt or really high power supply, most of the time it's just kind of a marketing gimmick. A lot of times you'll see like a 1600 watt, but it's only like gold efficiency. And you can never really get that wattage in the US. So the only way to get that kind of 1500 watt amperage out of the wall in the US is to have a super high efficiency power supply that's not going to draw that much from the wall.
Platinum?
I think you'd probably even have to go a little bit higher.
Titanium.
Titanium, unobtainium, whatever they call the next level.
There is 80 plus titanium, but it's only in the EU right now.
Really? There's 80 plus titanium?
Yeah, it's server 230 volt only server stuff right now.
Oh, one random question. How come the voltage here is like, I don't know, I mean like how come we use so much more power here than we do like in Italy, for example? Because I went to Italy and like everything was so low voltage that like I couldn't even use my blow dryer, but anyway.
Well, that's a little off topic.
When I went to Italy, my blow dryer was fine.
That was random.
But I think what you're actually asking is why are they on 230 volt there instead of 120 volt like we are here? And actually their voltage is higher, so they can actually get more power out of their outlets than we can.
Then how come it like outputs less power?
Probably you were at a really crappy place with really old wiring.
No, it's like everywhere. I went to like these newer hotels too, and older hotels.
Did your hairdryer have like a built-in switcher? I don't know the answer to this. I can't troubleshoot a hairdryer.
No, but I bought like an adapter.
I did tech support, but never for like Con Air.
I have more questions about Corsair.
Okay,
let's talk about something that's not hairdryer related.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine.
Yes. Okay, Corsair power supply question. I have not pre-read this, so I don't know what it's about. I have a Corsair HX Series 1050. I'm seeing loads of 960 watts with my system. I believe there's more overclocking potential, but I think I need more power as my CPU and video cards will both clock higher, but not when clocked higher at the same time. This is from FastStone6. So I guess what he's saying is with the HX Series 1050 and he's pulling 960 watts right now, is there still headroom for
If he's
more?
pulling 960 watts at the wall and the HX 1050 is a gold certified power supply, then he's probably close to like 850 to 900 watts output from the power supply side, because 960 in times 90%, so you're actually probably in the 800 range. He's got an extra 200 watts there. It's not his power supply that's holding him back. Something else is going on.
So yeah,
unless he's like doing liquid nitrogen or something like that, then his overclock is held back by something.
Yeah, so
it's not the power.
Chances are you either need more voltage, which is always the answer when you hit an overclocking wall, but a very dangerous answer, or possibly you might have hit the overclocking potential of the processor. And
it might also not be related to the power supply's power delivery, but maybe it's his motherboard power delivery. Like if his motherboard is trying to pump more power through the PCI Express socket, or the 8-pin is not pumping enough power to the CPU to overvolt both at the same time. I don't know the answer to it. So, but I mean, he's right. You should be able to get more power out of it than that by far. That power supply is tested at 1050 at 50 degrees C, and I mean, it's got really good industrial rated components and stuff. So that thing's a rock star. I would have no problem with that.
I've always been a big fan of the Corsair power supplies. Question about dust filters from Patrick Ouch.
Ouch?
I like that name. How come the dust filters do not cover the entire bottom of the case?
That was my fault. That was my fault.
George,
honestly,
it's just George. Just take
it'll be done in future versions. So this covers the power supply. We didn't put a dust filter under the hard drive cages, primarily because most people aren't going to be using them. And guys who are doing radiators down there, we figured that they wouldn't care that passionately about it.
Okay.
I was clearly wrong. That I've been dinged and asked that question a couple times already.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
You guys, you got me on that. I didn't put a dust filter there. I will next time. We'll take care of it.
But that's why we have these little events, so we can get the feedback from the fans. Okay, what's the noise level for 750D? Is this would you call this a noise optimized, or is it?
No, it's not. It's not a silence themed case. So to get, first off, with a window this size, you're never going to get a really silent case, just because this is louder than metal is. So if you had just steel alone, is less noise than a plastic window. And then if you're noise optimizing something, you put sound damping on it, so you get that done. This case also has a full mesh top without any kind of cover, so it's not a really silent themed case. That being said, it is fairly quiet. The 140 millimeter fans in front and on the back are really quiet fans with a direct airflow path that we do. So we got rid of the hard drive cages here and here, primarily just so that you can actually get direct airflow to your GPUs and CPU without having to worry about hard drive cages in the way. So it is fairly quiet, but if you're going to compare it to like a 550D or a 330R, those are quieter cases than this.
So if you really want silence, Corsair has some other cases in the lineup that are more geared towards that.
Exactly.
It's still going to be, I mean, like the AF140s are like, unless you crank them all the way up, they're really quiet. So.
No, it's a very quiet case, but it's not like, so quiet is one of those subjective terms, right? Like what's quiet to me, you might be like totally annoyed by. So that's one of the things we learned really early about noise level guys, is the guys who read like Silent PC Review and all those other websites that are like silence theme guys. Some of those guys, like 22 decibels is like a symphony to those guys.
Really?
But to me, 22 decibels, I don't even notice it. I'm paying attention to other things in the room. So it's subjective. It's quiet, but it's not silent.
Question about the window. What is the window made of?
Hope and dreams. No, it's made of it's made of acrylic.
Unicorn
it's an
parts?
acrylic window. Unicorn parts. Yeah, polished unicorn.
It's an acrylic window. Okay.
Wait, and flowers.
And flowers, yes, and flowers, of course.
And it
It is scratch and sniff. It smells like juniper.
but
that's not true at all. I made that up.
It is slightly tinted, yes?
It is slightly tinted. So we're doing this on most of our cases with what we call like a 10% tint on the windows. And the reason we do that is that actually when the system's off and you're in a low light situation, like in this room we have all kinds of lighting, so you can't really tell. But in a low light situation, when the system's off, you get kind of a nice black gloss thing. But then when you turn the system on, any of the lights that are inside make the whole thing pop. And if you do it just a straight clear window, we feel like it kind of looks a little bit cheap.
Tacky.
So when we tint it by 10%, you don't conceal any of the stuff inside it, but you make it look a little bit more elegant and a little bit higher end. So our idea was actually taken from the way they do some of the museum quality displays. Like if you go into a museum after hours, a lot of the shadow box stuff sometimes has like a slight tint to it that is there when the lights are off to protect it from UV and stuff like that. So we wanted these cases to look really good so they could display all your hardware, and that's kind of the idea we had.
Very nice.
So how did you tint it?
We just put, when you shoot the plastic or the acrylic, you can decide to put different types of plastic pellets in there. That's a solid question.
What?
You can put different type of plastic pellets in there. So you put clear pellets in, 100% clear, you get a 100% clear window. If you put 2 or 3% black, you get a slightly tinted black. You can put blue, green, yellow, pink, and tint it whatever color you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very nice. I wanted to stop for a moment to say welcome to any of you guys who have just joined us. Thank you very much for stopping by. Again, we're talking with George from Corsair. We're focusing on the 750D case, but if you have any questions about Corsair parts, feel free to pop them up in chat, and we'll see if we can answer them here for you. Speaking of which, I have another question. Wait.
Sure.
Okay, going back to the Vengeance series case, wait, is there a case? No. Hold on, I'm totally wrong about this. K70, this is a keyboard question.
Sure.
Have you considered making the backlight on the K70 RGB so you can choose between the color options?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We have considered that.
Okay.
But we don't know,
And
do
George
we?
may or may not be able to comment on
one of the things you can't do on mechanical switches right now is put 3 separate LEDs under each switch.
Okay.
And the reason is because there's just not physical room for it, and the switch mold isn't there and all that stuff. Also the power handling, you're talking 3 times the power, and it doesn't sound like much because LEDs don't use much, but you're talking 110 LEDs for a 110 key keyboard because each key has its own LED. Now you're talking 220 or 330 LEDs that all have to be powered. So if you were to do an RGB thing, you need to get a new switch, you need to get more power to it, and that's just not really possible right now. So yes, we've thought about it. It's a very common request. Can I get a K70 with RGB LEDs? And it's not only a common request outside the company, it's a common request from people like in our tech support when we send, hey, here's your keyboard, what do you think? And they're like, that's awesome, but I love RGB LEDs. So yeah, that's that's one of the reasons that the non-mechanical keyboards can do it. So I think it's like the K50 has that feature, and it's a rubber dome keyboard, the Raptor K50, but the Vengeance K70, which is mechanical switches, can't do that right now. So we are looking at it, but like I said, it's one of those things that's just not in the pipeline yet.
Alrighty. Let's see, do I have anything else lined up?
Well, you should also think about zone lighting.
Zone lighting?
Yeah, the different parts of the keyboard get light up in different colors.
Why don't you just let every key do whatever you want?
Oh yeah,
so if
that's
you,
like
you got 110 keys. Yeah, you got 110 keys. Why don't you just be able to choose RGB LED for each one?
I would be able to spell out my name.
Set it into disco mode and just go crazy.
I could go grab the K95 if you wanted. Take a look.
Like see it pulsing and stuff. Yeah.
We can breathe slowly at you.
Oh,
here's somebody who maybe joined later. Dwan 1992 asks, why doesn't Corsair make power supply PSU cable covers like those found in the half series? But you do.
No, he's talking about a power supply cover. It's a little shell that it covers the power supply because we're not ashamed of our power supply.
Yeah, no, I've never been a fan of those actually.
No, a lot of people think that the area where the cables hit the power supply is kind of ugly, and they don't like looking at it. So the Half X has this like little plastic shell that goes over that, and it's a cosmetic reason to do that. I personally don't think enough people care about it to add cost to the chassis. I don't think people would pay an extra $10 for a case that has that feature. If you guys think I'm wrong, then send me a bunch of emails and I'll tool one up and send it to you guys that care deeply about it. But
definitely. And if we've talked about anything today and you guys disagree, post a comment down in the comment section.
Yeah.
We'll take a look.
I'm sure that you guys disagree with just about everything. Someone's going to disagree with anything I say. Like I could say, hey, I like drinking water, and like half of you guys are like, screw water. What's this guy
water? Who drinks water?
Yeah, really? Right. Like brain control guys.
A question from Peter Attersley, and I might be able to answer this. Is Corsair looking to make a hard drive to match with your SSD or just in general? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that's a no. Making a hard drive isn't like, it's not an easy thing to do. They have these giant fabs like Western Digital and Seagate, and all these guys who do hard drives have these giant clean room fabs and like decades of IP and patents and stuff like that. Yeah. And to be honest, like, I think SSD is probably going to replace mechanical hard drives for most desktop uses in the next 5 years anyway, if it's not, to the point where it's cheap or cheaper pretty quickly here. There's no reason that SSDs should cost more than hard drives in the long run. Right now, flash is expensive to make, but it's going to get cheaper. There's less parts, there's no moving parts, there's longer lifespan. As soon as the costs come down on manufacturing the NAND flash, SSDs will be cheaper than mechanical drives. Yeah, and at that point, why would you bother with mechanical drives?
If you look at the marketing trend right now, it's pretty easy to see the number of hard drive manufacturers has shrunk. You pretty much have Western Digital, HDST, who's owned by Western Digital, Toshiba, and Seagate. Those are the only hard drive manufacturers. If you look at optical or SSD manufacturers, there are more and more of them. Although Corsair is going to dominate that market, and all the other ones are going to go out of business eventually. But let's see. Oh wow, sorry.
So what is the most capacity that an SSD can currently hold?
We sell a 480 right now. I think we might have had a 512 at one time or another. I'm not the SSD guy, so I'm trying to remember. I know that you can do a terabyte plus on SSDs because some of the server guys and some of the premium guys have that stuff. There's no limit to the density because it's just it's the density of each chip and the number of chips. So. If you have a controller that's capable of addressing a huge number of chips, you could have as much as you want. It's just a cost issue.
I'm really looking forward to like a 1 terabyte 1.5 because I want to replace my hard drive,
Yeah.
So.
I have some good questions here, actually. George, we were talking about this earlier. What's the difference between the AF140L, which is the included fan here, and the standard AF140?
The AF140, the retail version, comes with the multiple colored rings, and it also has rubberized corners at the ends so that it has built-in sound dampening. The AF140Ls that are included here do not include the rubber sound dampening because we can include it in the chassis already. We know the chassis has it. And then it doesn't include the multiple colored rings because of the cost issues, and not everyone would want that on the an OEM case.
Do you guys sell the colored rings individually?
No, the colored rings can't be snapped onto this. They're they have to be built into the tool. So the 140 retail has that, and then also these, in order to help differentiate the cosmetics, not only do we do the custom impeller and custom shell, but we shot the impeller in a cool gray color so that you get a noticeable difference of this is the fan that is the higher performance fan. So it's the same impeller, it's the same housing. So at the same RPM, they perform the same as the retail fans. The difference is just in the rubberized corners and the color rings.
Okay. I heard that Corsair just announced LED fans. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, we just announced the LED fans of the AF series. Most people use LED fans as case intake or case exhaust, which is where AF is really going to power off for you. So we did, again, there's no rubber corners, no colored rings on it, because LED isn't typically like a premium level fan. You don't see a lot of like $30 LED fans out there. So in order to hit the cost points where most LED guys are looking, we went ahead and took the colored rings off it, because you have colored LEDs. We launched it in blue, white, red, and purple, and 120 and 140 millimeter sizes. So you guys will see those coming up pretty soon. The number one question I got last week when we launched them was, why didn't you guys do green LED fans?
Oh, I was just going to say green.
Green, right?
Yeah.
Purple, not
And
green.
pink.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
We did purple.
Purple.
But purple's so close to blue, you need to do green.
Okay.
There.
All right,
If you guys have any other color suggestions on LED fans, again, go to Corsair, let us know.
What about rainbow?
Rainbow colored fans, that's awesome.
I like orange. They have
You like
those.
orange?
We saw those in Taiwan at Computex. They're
What type?
they're fantastic.
Fantastic.
Okay, by the way, the question about the AF140Ls and AF140s was from Cookies Owns, and that LED fan question was from TSM Fanman. Another question from Tez2s. Are you guys going to introduce some sort of SSD mount for the back of the 900D tray like the 750D?
Anything's possible. We don't have anything planned in the short term right now. The 900D has so many different options on where you can mount your drive cages that I think it would be a little bit superfluous, but he's right. It should be, if we had done the 900D, this year or next year, instead of last year when we were working on it, we probably would have incorporated that. So we'll look into it, but like I said, at this time we have no real plans to do it, but if we can find a way to make it work, we probably will.
All right. RG, that's not a question.
What is it? What is it? Where? What is
It's
it
a
say?
lewd comment.
Somebody's asking for a black K70 with a white backlight.
I have that, actually.
You do?
I have that in my house. It's
Like
a
some prototype model that nobody
I
else
have
can
a prototype
but
model
George?
that no one is getting back from me. You guys, nobody is getting my K70 with the cherry red switches and the white LED backlight out of my house.
Okay.
It's black anodized. It has white LEDs. It's one of like 2 prototypes we made to see what it looked like, and I took it home and it's never coming back. It's on my desk, and if enough of you guys ask for it, they'll make it. It looks as awesome as you think it does. It's rad.
All right, so
I highly recommend you send as many emails as you can to get them to make it. It's totally awesome.
So Glenn,
but I love white LEDs.
that question's from Glenn Wing, and clearly George already has your back on that one. So
I'm behind you 177%.
if George can make it happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you unbox it?
Unbox a product that was never boxed. It came from a big bulk pack from our keyboard manufacturer.
I mean, I don't know. Just give the fans.
You'd be surprised how funny the product development cycle is sometimes. Like when we're seeing hey, would this work? Sometimes the answer is for example, for a case like the Air 540, the cube case. We built a prototype of that in a cardboard box just to see what the mechanicals would fit. Hey, let's put the power supply here and a motherboard tray. And so we were cutting up this cardboard box from I think it was APC, who's making UPSs.
Nice.
They cut up this UPS box and we're just doing all these things. And then for the keyboards, the K65, the one without the 10 key on the side, literally the way they checked to see if it would what the form factor would be is they just took a K70 and a hacksaw and they just sawed through the K70.
What?
Our keyboard engineer was in the lab and he's got his knee on the desk and I was you should have a clamp or something, but he's just literally hand sawing through the K70.
The knee works.
You can really hurt yourself.
Surprisingly, it still worked. We thought he's going to saw right through the PCB and it'll kill it, but actually it still worked over here. You just had this ragged, dangerous edge on the one side. We fixed that for production, obviously. I mean, it doesn't have a dangerously ragged edge.
Sharp aluminum.
Those of you who have purchased a K65 know it is as high quality as the K70. It's just much smaller.
And if you've got a K70 and you want a K65,
a hacksaw and a waiver,
and a willingness to void one's manufacturer warranty.
Void the warranty and promise that you won't sue us.
Please try this at home.
Please do not saw your K70. I'm so going to hear about this from somebody. They're going to be what the hell are you talking about?
Another question about the 750D. How many drives can you fit if you're using a front radiator, I assume a 240 or 280?
So if you take this cage out here and you keep this cage in place, you can fit 3 mechanical drives and 4 SSDs behind there. Or you can, if you don't have a SLI, you can put this drive cage on here, and it'll overlap your motherboard a little bit in this area here, but it won't hit your top video card. So you should be able to use your top video card, and then you could put 6 drives here. But there's a lot of flexibility, so you can play around with it.
So it'd be a very, you'd actually be able to see like your stack of hard drives sitting there in the middle of the case.
Which everyone loves the look of, obviously.
The hard drives.
Hard drive guys spend so much time on cosmetics.
If you've got an old Raptor with the window.
The Raptors look cool,
those were
but
pretty.
Why the other hard drive guys don't bother to put like a nickel into painting the cases black, I don't get it. Like,
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Like,
or you know what I've been waiting for is a black painted optical drive.
Yes. Yeah. How hard is that?
I would pay $25 instead of $20.
I know a guy who has black paint and a spray can. We can make this work. Let's call up TIAC or whoever it is, Sony, who's ever making optical drives.
Why do they only make the like?
Because nobody cares what optical drives look like. So
yeah, still.
I do.
We've been sitting here with this case and we haven't actually popped it open yet.
Should we pop it open?
Maybe we should maybe pull off the side window so people can get a better look at the interior. Again, guys, if you want to see a full overview of this case, Joanne's got an overview video on our channel, which you guys can check out. But there's a look at it. I really like the side how large the side window is because I feel like drives, I mean, we were just talking about how drives don't look that nice, but SSDs, I feel like, can have a pretty nice look.
Especially red SSDs with big like logos like Force GT or Neutron GTX.
Exactly.
Those are the best SSDs to look at. Like, if you were going to spend a lot of money on an SSD, it should totally have a Corsair logo and it should live right here. Yeah. That's where it should live. And then you could look at it every once in a while and say, how you doing, buddy? And he could say, I'm doing great. But I'm making your system faster.
This is probably the first system I've seen where you've got a built-in mounting solution where you can actually get a good look at the SSDs through the side panel.
No, I'm going to totally acknowledge that I'm a shameless promoter for our products. And, and when I was designing this, I was like, hey, we sell SSDs and people want to buy them. And if they're going to spend money on them, we should make it so they can see what SSDs they bought.
It's a premium item.
So yeah, let's talk about it. And if we ever stop selling SSDs, I'll put those cages somewhere else.
Nice. Here's a question. The Air 540, popular case that's come out recently from Corsair. Is there any consideration for a version of that case in the Obsidian line?
No.
There's a lot of consideration. So the Air 540 was designed, like I said, as kind of a weird mad scientist lab experiment that we did. And the idea was to see what the performance was like and what the user kind of response would be to this weird design. And honestly, people blew us away. Like, it's people are buying it in crazy numbers, and it's way more popular than we thought it would be. So, you know, if people like a product, I have no problem making more versions of that product. So I can't comment on any future versions that we might work on. But yeah, Obsidian or Vengeance or whatever, there's all kinds of possibilities, different form factors. Right now, I think that the response is obvious that you guys like the 540. Or a lot of people like the Air 540. So totally. We'll look at expanding that product.
Chances are, a case that popular, there's probably some other stuff in the works.
I mean, if something works, there's no reason we would stop doing it. That's.
All right.
If you guys want to buy something, I want to sell it to you. We have a, and we're on the same page here.
That question, by the way, was from, it's so bright, Hanny000. This question's from Zabamomochi, but I think we already answered. The default cans in this case are
AF140Ls.
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 The SP series of fans, is there a 140 millimeter version of those?
Not right now.
Not right now. But
we are looking into it. We have, to do a 140 millimeter static pressure fan requires some research, and so you could easily take the SP120 and just drag and drop and make it like 12% bigger or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But then you would actually not get what you need because you actually get the ratios are all screwed up in the hub and everything is different sizes. So what you need to do is design from scratch a new 140 millimeter fan with the same kind of principle of getting the static pressure at 140 millimeters. So I'll be honest, we are looking at that, we're working on it, and it will come out one day. I can't tell you when or price point or any of that stuff because we're still in development on it. But yes, we are working on an SP140. So good news for all you radiator guys. Someone's finally paying attention to 140 millimeter radiators, and it's us.
And 280.
And 280 is
140.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean.
We're going to make a really big oblong fan. We're going to break the laws of physics.
I echo that. That's from Sad Starcraft, by the way. I don't know why you'd be sad if you're playing Starcraft. But yeah, I echo that. Static pressure fans are really high on my hit list because I love using the radiators, the closed-loop radiators for CPU cooling, and having a really solid fan, static pressure fan in particular, can be really helpful in maximizing the radiator's potential. Have you considered braided? I know we have the braided cables available from Corsair. Have you guys considered possibly doing a 2-color combination, something like that, with the black with a red streak or something like that you may be seeing in the custom sleeving jobs that people do in mods?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. The only question is, what 2 colors we would use, and the problem is no matter what 2 colors we'd use, someone's going to be angry about it. So the question is there a thing that hey, 80% of you guys really want black with red? Then yeah, black with red makes sense. But if we put a poll up, I have this feeling that it would be here's the 10 options, and it'd be split 10% for every option. So I mean, yeah, maybe the pink and yellow wouldn't be number 1 on the list, but I'm sure we'd get a vote from someone.
Green that is horrifying. Pink and yellow. Ugh.
Seafoam green.
Seafoam green.
Seafoam green. Mauve.
Can we do a bright? No, a
sienna?
pine tree green. A pine.
No.
It's a lovely pine. Happy little pines.
We will not be doing a forest green. We will not be doing a forest green or a British racing green or any of those.
I keep saying this at the wrong times, but that question is gone now.
What question?
Sorry. So let it be written off the history books forever.
Sorry.
It's gone.
We've got a live document here, and I was about to read the name, and it disappeared. It's okay. Thank you for asking that question, whoever that was. I was about to read your name.
Thank you, Internet stranger.
Excellent question. Orbix617 asks, white version of the 750D?
Nope.
Nope.
Not an Obsidian line.
Okay. Obsidian line is more about the brushed metal look and everything?
It's all about black brushed metal, and there's no such thing as white Obsidian.
That's true.
That's
it's
kind of built into
white
the
carbide, and we have that already too, or white graphite. We have
hey, do you know how I know?
But nonetheless, the Obsidian family, we don't have any plans to make a white version. I'm not saying there never will be, but right now I don't have any plans to do it.
Okay.
Like anything else, if enough of you guys raise hell about it, no pun intended or no profanity meant to offend anybody, then I have no problem.
We can say hell.
We can say HE double.
I said it 4 times already today. So
HE double hockey sticks.
I'm not saying that. That's even dumber. No offense.
Well, no, but it's meant to be PG.
Well, but everyone out there can spell, knows what it means. It's not like now we're just being condescending to the audience.
That's just for all the 3-year-olds who are watching this.
Yeah, the 3-year-olds who care deeply about Corsair power supplies.
Hey, no, if you put the hockey sticks another way, they spell 7s.
Okay. Here's a question about fan mounting. This is from Hot Steamy Shower, which is just sexy.
That's the best kind, yeah.
Yes.
He's found that the metal or plastic rings are small, and he's ripped the rubber on the fans.
On what?
The metal plastic rings are too small. He's ripped the rubber, so this may be the AF140s or the AF120s with the rubber mounts.
Are these the rings he's talking about?
I don't know.
I'm not 100% clear, but advice on how to install fans.
Anyway, regardless of which, if you've torn or broken a Corsair product, contact our customer service. We'll get you replacements or spare parts for it.
All right. And in my experience, if you have problems mounting fans, especially if you're using the big kind of really wide threaded fan mounting screws, and that you've worn out the mounting area or that sort of thing, you can buy those little rubber, the long rubber pull through things, and then you pull them through and they kind of snap into place, and it holds the fan there and it gives a little rubber sound.
Oh, there's little rubber pulley thingies.
Yeah,
they're so funny.
Those I think that's actually the technical term, little rubber pulley thingies.
The rubber pulley thingies.
No, they're so fun to just pull out.
As defined by the IEEE spec, IEEE, I forget. The IEEE People get mad I say IEEE, and I guess that is kind of awkward.
It's IEEE?
Well,
you wouldn't say triple, I mean like AAA. I need to call the AAA.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a drinking problem.
But it's triple.
AntoPC asks, we've seen RAM caching software from, RAM caching, okay. All right, Corsair makes RAM, Corsair makes SSDs.
Sure.
This is actually a comparison to a competing product, the Samsung 840 EVO, where they've provided some software which allows you to do some caching in your RAM for the SSD. Since Corsair is kind of involved in both of those markets, have you guys considered any similar sort of software for?
I'd love to be able to answer. I have no idea.
Okay.
I am not the SSD guy.
Right,
Cases, cooling, power supplies. But I'll tell you, I'll talk to the SSD
Who
PM.
is that?
Jeannie is our SSD PM.
Okay,
so I'll talk to her when I get back. Her name is Jeannie Koo. She's in charge of SSDs. I will talk to her and say, hey, Jeannie, what's up with the thing? And she's like, we're launching it Thursday. Why aren't you telling me? And I'll get in trouble with her. But no, I have no idea. So I wish I could answer that. Sorry.
No worries. But it's on George's radar now, so he's going to get it done. Or maybe that wasn't exactly what he was saying. But
yeah, I will ask if she's got plans, and then I won't tell anybody.
All right.
Are we going to interview her?
Joe Lashin asks, case with a cup holder. Cup holder?
If you buy an optical drive, there's your cup holder. Because we all know nobody's actually using cup holders or as CD drives for actual CDs anymore. So I don't even have a DVD drive in my system. Most of the people I know don't have it. I know that there's a couple people out there who just like, still have it for, posterity's sake. But if you need a cup holder, buy an optical drive. That's my advice.
I'll watch a Blu-ray from time to time.
No, actually, no. Wasn't there like a grandma who
there's this, so right? My first job like in the industry was like working tech support for Gateway. Way back in the day, I worked tech support for Gateway, and that was like, hey, I remember this lady called up a week ago, and she was using the CD drive like a cup holder, and that's like that urban legend of tech support world, like the lady who used the keyboard or the mouse as a foot pedal, like they use for sewing machines. She's trying to work the mouse with her foot, like stuff like that. Like I couldn't use the mouse because the dust cover was on it. Yeah, it's like the plastic it ships in or something. Actually, when I worked tech support, I did have a guy who this is back in CRT days, like in 1997, and he had a 21-inch multi-scan, like big giant LCD or CRT monitor, and he called up really upset that he couldn't scan things with it because it says multi-scan. So he was like literally holding the paper up against his monitor and pushing the power button. Oh wow! Really? And he was like, "Do I have to hit the DGOS button to do it first and stuff like?" And it's like that's amazing. Yeah, I was like at the end of my shift and I just like, okay, thank you for that call because for the rest of my life I'll remember it. And I actually just had like a momentary flashback to like tech support days. So. But then you also probably got a lot of it's not working. Is it plugged in? Yeah. Yeah, before you ever call tech support, and you guys don't have to worry about it. Guys who build their own PCs generally check that stuff. But yeah, if you're building your own PC, chances are you're tech support for your whole family. Like everyone in this room is probably tech support for their family. Oh my God! Yeah. Oh, speaking of Corsair, did you know that one? Should I say this? What? Should I say this on Twitch? Something died on me. Yeah, why not? Throw it out there. A Corsair product failed? My God. Your memory died on me, and I had to fix it. How did you fix our memory? Well, no, I didn't fix it. I just figured out. No. Take a soldering iron and just take it to town? The PCBs, separated, kind of redrew the trace, you know. She's like, oh, I see what the problem is. I meant was I had to loose solder joint. No, took some more. I had to turn the system on and off until I found out which stick it was because I had 4. It was just so annoying, but yeah. Well, we will replace it for you. Anybody can send a bad part up, but memory has a lifetime warranty. So if you've owned it and any time that it's Corsair, you send it back to us, we'll replace it. Yeah, but I met you, so I just have to give it to you. Yeah, and I'll take it home and forget about it. No, I'm just exactly. We'll send you new sticker memories, a new kit of memories. Excellent. Don't let her bully you into that, dude. That's our support. It's right on the box. Lifetime warranty. I'm not bullying him. I'm asking him ever so nicely. I'm really Joanne the bully. Joanne the bully. She's okay. Another question. Bully. Stop. What? Question. Question from Simmons33. Corsair AF and SP fans with the rings? Yep. Any chance of a yellow ring? No, not right now. We don't have any. So we actually looked at doing different colored rings you could buy online and stuff. We may do that, like offer kits of, hey, here's a multi-pack of 20 different colored rings that you can buy and do whatever you want. But surprisingly, it's really easy to just take the white rings and then spray Krylon Fusion spray paint over them, and you get whatever color you want. So. My advice is if you like the colored rings and you want a specific color that we don't offer and we don't have it like in the next week, the easiest thing to do is to take the white ring, go to Home Depot or Lowe's or something and buy a can of Krylon Fusion, the paint that's designed to go on plastic. Okay. And you just rattle can the white ring if you're doing a bright color, or one of the red ring if you're doing a dark color. All right. So if you're going like gunmetal or something, use the red one because it's a darker base. Okay. If you're going light color, use the white one. Oh. Spray paint yellow on the white in like 1 or 2 coats and you'd be able to snap it back in, no one would ever know. Very nice. So customize your own Corsair AF. You'd have it like a totally elite case mod, bro. That'd be sweet. Any color you want. That's awesome. I might do that. You could do rainbow then. You could if you were so inclined. Yes, I am so inclined. That was I think I already said this, but that was from Simmons33, by the way. Thanks for the question. Full pones you. Paul, you're so bad at reading these names. You need to let me read one. I'm reading them from over here. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I believe this question is specifically about the 750D. Any thoughts on having
a rubber grommet behind the first cage.
Behind the first,
I guess.
Oh, I know what he's
first
talking
drive
about.
cage.
I'll show you what he's talking about. Let me pull the back panel off this thing because I know exactly what he's asking for. But it's hard to tell with the cage in place. So let's see here.
Someone said
flip it around.
Elvish ring.
Elvish
So
ring?
what he's talking about
3
is
rings
here.
for Elven King.
Oh,
This area here. What he's saying is, do we have plans to put a rubber grommet in this area here because it's behind this? And the answer is not right now. Actually, rubber grommets really work based on the tension of how wide the gap is. If you put a giant square rubber grommet in, then the grip tension out here is bad, and when you push through, it'll pull the grommet clean off. So it doesn't work that easily unless you have a really wide flange on it, like way bigger than you would think you would need. It'll come off real easily. So right now we don't have it there, primarily because it's hidden by that. But yeah, if you took that cage out, then yeah, you would have a big opening here, and you might see some of your cables. So that's something we will look at in the future, maybe addressing that in some way. But if I were worried about it from a cosmetic perspective, like seeing those cables, I would just get a piece of black plastic or a piece of black paper and put it here so that you don't see the cables from the other side.
Or some judicious cable management, because you got so many of those tie-down points.
Yeah, you have a ton of tie-down points and a ton of other cable mounting areas, so you could do it. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of in an inopportune place, but it has to be here for this cage to work, so you can get to the SATA power and data connectors here for this cage.
All right.
But why make it so big?
Because the SATA power cables and the SATA data connectors all have to go through there for all 3 drives.
Oh, that's right.
So you need a lot of room.
Here's a design question.
Sure.
This is from Delt Goff. What drawing software, or I'm guessing more like 3D modeling software, do you guys use to design your products?
We use whiteboards and MS Paint mostly.
Really?
No,
MS Paint? Oh my God.
No, we design everything in Play-Doh and mostly drunk. We get drunk and use Play-Doh, and this is...
Hey, you could be...
No, that's actually not true at all. We use a lot of different project software. We've used stuff like, there's all kinds of AutoCAD, DesignWorks, and SolidWorks, and things like that we use. I'm not the guy who does the 3D modeling because we have engineers who are actually well-educated and knowledgeable about that stuff, and I'm just the guy who barks, it needs 4 drive cages and 6 fan mounts, and they make it happen. So I'm the guy who comes up with the idea, and then we have real engineers who have extensive background at giant companies like HP and places like that work for us that do that stuff. And those guys are rock stars. I'm just the annoying guy who gets on camera and tells bad jokes all day.
I think your jokes are awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're trying. Trying.
I'm trying. I'm giving it the effort.
Yeah.
That's basically every report card I ever had. Well, at least he's trying.
Okay, so
Stop.
we're getting close to our wrap-up time here, but I'm going to try to fire off a few more quick questions because I like a few of them. This one is from Etakarine1. Hopefully that's anyway. Dominator Platinum Memory. Lighting kits. Is there a red kit available or will be available soon?
There will be a red kit available. I can't give you a date, but there will be a red kit available.
So it's in the pipeline.
Yeah, they were working on it. Actually, one of the problems they had initially was that the idea was to have white LEDs and then separate little color inserts for those. That we had a white one and a blue one, and those look great. But the minute you put the red lens over the white, you got a pink. And they didn't want to have hey, Dominator Platinum Pink is the coolest thing ever. And the only way to get real red is to put a separate red LED back there, so they're working on that, and they're going to have that product available pretty soon.
Okay.
Dominator Pink.
Yeah.
That's a good question. George, do you have a Twitter account?
I do not have a Twitter account because I'm a Luddite. I'm actually Amish.
What?
Oh, really?
I'm just
Oh my God.
No, I don't have a Twitter account, but I'm thinking...
You guys have case raisings where you
exactly.
bring
this
the sides
whole
up
case was built in a day by 12 Amish engineers.
Using
Using what?
My brother Jebediah and Josiah
Jebediah.
and Ezekiel. No,
Wait, aren't those? Are those prophets?
Those are names.
Those are names that
they're
Amish
taken
people
from the
typically use
Bible.
biblical names.
I feel like we're
because they're
getting
very
off
religious.
topic.
Anyway, my point being that the future stuff for Twitter and all that stuff, I may or may not have a Twitter account one day, but no, right now I don't.
Okay.
Do you churn your own butter?
I do. I churn my own butter. I did make my own pumpkin pie once. That was a giant pain. What a pain in the
But not from real pumpkin.
I did. I bought sugar pie pumpkins and baked them and used an Alton Brown recipe. I was doing the whole thing, and then the Costco pie was 10 times better, so I was like, whatever.
Wait, but where's your Amish robe?
What? I think
Okay, I think you're confused.
I think you get the Amish and the Supreme Court justices mixed up.
It's okay. All right. Any plans for a Corsair air cooler apart from the all-in-ones? As far as
we did have air coolers back in the day. We launched the Corsair A50 and A70 air coolers, and they were tragic failures. Nobody bought any of them. So no, we're not going to sell any air coolers anytime soon. Now, if you absolutely feel like we could totally make the world's best air cooler, you're probably right. But the answer is that the air cooling market has kind of been killed by the liquid cooling market.
Yeah.
So you guys see that all the really high-end coolers that are being sold, most of them are liquid coolers. There's a couple of guys selling, like Nacho still has their stuff, and Fantech still has a couple of things out there. But realistically, the high-end air cooling market is pretty much gone, and we don't really have the desire to go play it, $10 or $20 with, Cooler Master has the Evo, the Hyper 212 Evo. It's a really good $29, $39 air cooler.
It's a bit of a beast at that price point for sure.
I don't really feel like fighting that product. There's not a lot there for me.
It's got a lot of traction
they've
too.
also got the GTX V8.
They get the V8 and the V6. They got a bunch of other coolers too. But
ginormous cooler.
I don't really feel like playing that game, and they've done a great job with it. So I'll just let them have that segment. And good work, guys. You guys have done a great job with those.
So what do you think? Water cooling the future?
I think it's the present. I mean, I think that if you look at the sales of our products and the fact that the popularity of our products, if we go on any case forum, even if a guy's talking hey, post pictures of your rig here, there's so many Corsair Hydro Series coolers in those cases that it's almost a rarity to see somebody using a big air cooler anymore. So I don't think it's the future. I think it's totally the present now.
But I've also heard from some people that they won't even touch it because of the possibility that it might leak.
So that's a good concern. So Corsair has the longest warranty of anybody in the industry. We have a 5-year warranty. Most of the competitors are 2 or 3. Some of them are even 1. We have a 5-year warranty. We've been doing it longer than anybody. We're by far the #1 guy in that market. If your hydro cooler leaks and kills your video card, we will replace it for you.
The card too?
We will make, if the cooler leaks because of a default, we will take care of the parts. We've done this before.
Really?
So if you have a product from us with a hydro cooler in it and the hydro cooler leaked because of our flaw, we take care of you.
I want a new card.
And
now, if you send me, keep in mind, it's prorated. So if you send me hey, I killed my 280 Pro, and replacing a 280 Pro now is worth $600, so then we're gonna have an argument.
Yeah, and the thing, I hear so much more, people speculating on the possibility that it's leaked, but I don't know anyone, and I think I've maybe read one forum post where somebody actually had it effective.
It's really rare. I'm not going to lie, it happens. We sell a lot of liquid coolers, and we get a few leaks back here and there. Products fail. It's just a fact of life. But it's really rare. Yeah. We get far more people that just returned it because they didn't know how to install it, or returned it because they didn't like the fans, or they lost a screw, or whatever. When you look at our total RMA rate and our return rate, it's really, really small. And out of those returns, the numbers that are actually leaks is minuscule. So out of the tens of thousands of these things we sell all the time, we get a handful back.
And one of the huge benefits from an all-in-one cooler that often isn't talked about is the fact that you can actually move a system around or even ship it with the water cooler.
This is one of the reasons the popularity of it in system integrators. So if you go to system integration, the super high-end flagship guys like Falcon Northwest or Digital Storm or Origin or Main Gear, those guys have almost all gone to all-in-one coolers because, first off, shipping 3 pounds of copper and aluminum is a bad idea. If it's mounted to your motherboard, that's not a good idea.
Oh, yeah. It could fall.
It can fall. It could cause microfractures in the board if it's shaking. So they don't do that anymore. They just don't. And they've moved almost entirely to aftermarket liquid cooling, all-in-one liquid cooling, primarily because of that reason. They want better control of shipping and quality control, and that's what liquid cooling does. The trick is really, though, you have to have confidence in the product, and I think that the fact that we have the best warranty is a sign that we have the confidence in our product. So yeah, we're not worried about the quality control or leaks. I understand people are, but one of the other benefits of the sealed coolers is they never require maintenance. You don't have to fill it yourself. You never have to top it off. As far as you're concerned, it works just like an air cooler. And that being said, guys who use heat pipe based coolers, heat pipes have liquid in them. So you're technically there's liquid in there. It's the whole point of the thermal change is that as the heat pipe works is that the material changes. You have go from a liquid to a gas, and then it condenses and goes back down the wick, and that's how the whole principle works. So you already have liquid in your system if you're using even something like a 212 Evo.
They're molded in with copper.
We've seen this. I mean, you're right. Copper is a lot less likely to break or whatever than other materials, but it still happens. I mean, we've seen that happen on competitors' products, and you actually can see performance die like right away. As soon as that liquid gets out of that thing, you get nothing. So.
All right. So I have. I think I have 3 more questions. I had 2, but the Twitch chat was blowing up for a moment with speculations about a case bigger than the 900D, and they went from 900 to 1,000 to 9,000, and I think there was a 90,000 in there somewhere. So 90,000D, any?
It's actually called the Infinity.
Perfect.
No, I'm just kidding.
The 90,000D?
90,000D.
Oh my
God. We do not have any current products that we're going to talk
like
about
a shipping
that are bigger
container.
than the 900D. Yeah, exactly.
Like a shipping container
It's a cargo boat. It's a cargo boat. You get to move into it with all your friends, and you can put your PC anywhere you want.
It's actually 2 cases, right? Combined into one.
Exactly. Right. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so again,
there's nothing bigger than the 900D.
900D is the flagship, and they're not going to go bigger than that. It's not very practical.
It's like aircraft.
Okay, 2 more quick questions. Just one about headset holders on Corsair cases. We've seen that before. Perhaps a
like a little thing that pops out.
Yeah, Thermaltake does it, right? On some of their their cases, they have a little flip down thing.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of neat. I think that if we were to target that kind of audience and say, hey, like we're going after like the LAN gamer guy really heavily, we may look at doing that.
Okay.
But honestly, I think that for guys who are doing it at home, if you get a $2 banana stand from Safeway or a supermarket.
What? A banana stand?
Have you ever seen a banana stand?
Like a banana hammock?
No, it's not like
the money. There's
a banana stand. It's a piece
a lot
of
of money in that banana
hook.
stand.
But it's kind of funny. I have this. This is what I hang my headphones on at home. It's a piece of wood and a metal kind of C-shaped piece of metal and a little hook at the end, and it's designed so you can hang bananas on it so they can ripen without getting flat unlike the other fruit.
I have seen those.
But you can put your headset on that or your headphones on that, and that's what I use for my high-end headphones at home.
Oh, it would be great because Paul loves banana cream pies. Am I right? Banana cream pies.
I do love banana cream pies.
Okay, so now you know you can send him banana cream pies.
Yeah, send Paul a banana cream pie in the post office. I'm sure they'll be happy.
And in case anybody missed it, I made an Arrested Development reference, but
there's always money in the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana stand. Okay, last question. That question we just asked was from Alien0227. One last question here from Wardrum with an H. Corsair 5 1/4 inch card reader with a SSD hot swap bay.
Oh. You'd have to like.
I think it's a really specialized market.
Yeah,
I don't think that there's a lot of dudes who want 5 1/4 inch card readers right now. And to be honest, there's so few people who want it, and there's so many competing products that I don't really see a reason for us to play in that game. I could be wrong, and like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to announce my awesome thing that has a card reader and a hair dryer or whatever in it. Because you're worried about that.
No, it's the voltage, not.
That's paying back to the guys who were watching 45 minutes ago. But
no, stop scrolling.
I don't have any plans for that in the near future. I think Silverstone makes something like that, and I think a couple other guys do too. So there's products out there that do that, but we're not planning on it.
Okay.
Wait, are you guys talking about the card reader that goes here?
She's talking about he's talking about like a 5 1/4 inch bay that has like a SSD hot swap, like 2.5 inch hot swap, as well as like a SD card reader and all that stuff.
Okay,
so I don't have any immediate plans for that. So
I bet there's one that already exists out there.
I'm sure there's a couple somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. I do have one last question. This one just popped up. This one is from Chev with a 3 instead of an E. Do you guys have any plans for an all-in-one closed-loop GPU cooler?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. The real problem with GPU cooling right now is that most of the time when you take the heatsink off your video card, you void the warranty immediately. Yeah. So unlike a CPU where you already have to put your own cooler on top of it, and you can use the one that comes in the box, but it doesn't void your warranty to use an aftermarket cooler on an Intel or AMD CPU most of the time. To take the heatsink off your $500 GPU and then put on some aftermarket cooler, I think a lot of people are still a little bit sketched out by that because they just spent $500 on a graphics card, and what if they screw it up? And also, so the guys that aren't sketched out by that, I think are much more likely to do like full aftermarket water cooling with all the cool tubes and all that stuff. So I think that there's a very small market of guys who want to replace their cooler and are comfortable with voiding their warranty, but not comfortable with full aftermarket water cooling. That being said, if we could accommodate some way with NVIDIA or AMD to get some kind of solution that they would approve of that wouldn't void warranties or whatever, we would look at that. But right now, we haven't seen a giant amount of market for all-in-one GPU cooling, which is a shame because it's actually much more important to cool your GPU. Like we've done mods on our forum and our blog post on our website. We took an H60 and we modded it to fit a graphics card, and we saw a 20°C drop in temps.
Really?
It's a
20°C.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just like idle temps are like 20°C. And so like you got to think about it. Your CPU is 80 to 120 watts really is the TDP of a CPU, but your graphics card, even if you have like a modern, pretty efficient graphics card like a 780 or something, it's like 200 watts. It's 50% to 100% more, whatever, than the other heat solution. So, and you have a much smaller space to do it in.
A lot smaller slot.
So
there.
if you really want to reduce noise level and get better thermal performance, liquid cooling your GPU makes way more sense. But again, people are just really uncomfortable with it, and I totally get that. I would not want to pull the heatsink off my $500, $600 graphics card.
You got to also deal with a bunch of different PCB sizes and layouts, and the GPU.
I mean, even if you standardized exactly where the whole pattern went and you came up with an adaptable mount, like we could do that. That engineering work is something we're good at, but it's just a pain to get it. I mean, I've seen competing products from other people, and I've never seen them pick up in sales. Like I think even NZXT had one at Computex this year. A couple other people have done it, and it's just never really picked up. And I think that the market's a little bit smaller.
Right.
So the fans on the actual GPUs, they're good enough?
They're not good enough, but they're what people are comfortable with. So what you've seen people do is like Asus or MSI or Gigabyte, they have their kind of aftermarket cooler. So they take the stock cooler and rip it off and put their own, and then they cover the warranty. So they say, for example, like the Twin Frozer from MSI or something like that, it has a completely custom cooler with like heat sinks and stuff like that, and it's much, much better for cooling the GPU than the stock blower is. But the problem is that like they're not going to put a liquid cooler on it because they don't know the case that you're in, they don't know the tubing you have to use, the length of the tubing,
the clearance and everything.
And also the cost of a liquid cooler is much, much higher than even that really expensive copper and aluminum heatsink they put on there. So even if you put like an H55 level cooler on there, you're still talking 2 to 3 times more cost than the heatsink that's on there. And a couple of guys have tried that. I think it was there's a couple guys who've put a graphics card out there with a built-in like hydro cooler on it, like a H55 type product, and the added cost ends up being like $100 ASP higher. So instead of your $599 card with an air cooler, you have a $699 card with a liquid cooler, and as again, nobody buys it. So I think that it's something I would love to be able to do, but right now there's a couple barriers that are standing between us and accomplishing it.
I know change is bad.
I would love for that to happen. If I could get everyone in the world to be totally comfortable putting a hydro cooler on a graphics card, I would be the first guy to do it.
I'd be down.
Wait. We just need enough people to go to Corsair forums and be like, yes, I want that cooler.
Well, what we need them to do is to go to EVGA and all the guys who sell graphics cards and say, hey, stop voiding my warranty if I remove the heatsink. That's what we need them to do.
All right. So we have a request for a Steve cameo. Steve,
come in.
You did? You put your hand in front of the camera.
Come on,
that doesn't
Steve.
count. We wanted to say hello. And Steve's been diligently manning the cameras back here, so
trying to hide from the reflection in the case.
Oh yeah.
Also trying to corral you guys.
Making sure we're all in focus and everything. We're gonna wrap up now. We did have a Hani Zero. I apologize. Your name has scrolled by. But he was saying thank you. I guess he met you at PAX Prime and took a picture, so he wanted to say what's up.
Cool.
And that is going to do it for this video. So
wait, I have to axe him first. Here, put your head down. What? That is the ritual of the Vikings. Now do it.
We're Vikings now?
Yes. I've been watching Vikings recently, and that show's so amazing.
It's a show? I thought you just
no, it's a show.
I thought Joanne's just into Vikings, kind of.
Oh, come on, everybody's into Vikings. Have you seen their muscles? I mean, hello.
I watched True Blood. There's a Viking in that show.
That was...
Come on,
Actually,
my
wife watches True Blood, and I just happened to be in the room.
Head down. Okay, are you watching? Here's the ritual execution of a traitor.
This was unplanned. Joanne just kind of...
He's a traitor.
You might as well go ahead.
He doesn't work for Corsair. What?
What?
Okay, no, head down. Pretend I did that really fast.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, what the heck? You're still alive.
Yeah. Imagine that.
So now that Joffrey has beheaded Ned, we can go ahead and wrap up our video.
Did you just call me?
Yes, I just called you Joffrey.
He is like a sadistic little...
And we got through the whole thing. The whole thing without any real profanity.
Was that a profane?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that's like saying.
So close.
I thought that's like
so
saying.
well.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's just that's a
For the
hard
record,
one.
it wasn't me.
All right.
I didn't drop it.
Wait, you mean
Excellent.
it's the same severity as like
Don't even. Let's give a list
Joanne's
of
just
things
going to
similar
start rattling off.
Yeah.
Wait, can you just
curse
go pee,
words that
Kate?
Down
she
with
knows.
your head.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Here,
Yeah, I think George should behead Joanne now. All right. Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our live stream today. Or if you're watching this in the future, we will be posting this on our Newegg TV YouTube channel, most of it at least. George, thank you so much for coming down here and
No problem,
talking
man.
to us today, answering all these questions. We'd love to have you back in the future.
Sure.
Guys, we'd love your feedback. I know Twitch is going to be wrapping up, but if you're watching this on Newegg TV, go ahead and post your comments down in the comment section below. We'd love to hear what you had to say so we can pass it on to Corsair so that they can continually to work to bring the excellent products like the 750D that we've been taking a look at. All right.
Right on.
Wait.
And Joanne just has one last thing to say.
Yes, George will not eat my cheesecake.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you next time we do a live stream,
they have
and
to
we may or may
subscribe.
not be
It's like
including
paleo
Joanne.
cheesecake. It is
Oh,
neither
it's
cheese
paleo.
nor cake.
Paleo.
It's not even
delicious.
It's like something that was created in a
It's
fictional
all
realm.
organic and no
which
grains.
is, again, imagine why I won't eat it.
gluten free.
We're done.